We're live. Okay, let's see. Well, hello there. I am Toothless Tiger. And y'all, it has been something. We've tried to make this thing work. We practiced all day yesterday, and we still had technical difficulty. God, I can't even get my damn words out. We still had technical difficulties, but we persevered, and we're going to continue to persevere. We're waiting for a couple of people to come in. Right now, we're at one person. Thank you for joining us. We have practiced and practiced, and we've tried our best to make this thing work. And we were having technical difficulties, but I believe that we should be able to bring you a beautiful show today. I want to re-present Miss Donnetria Eltionea, poet, mother, writer, author, and she's also a licensed nail technician. And when she was on before, we had real bad difficulties. And I did not believe that that did her justice from what I see in her. And so I wanted to give her another opportunity to present herself to the world because I truly believe that she is a woman that we need to hear from. She has a lot to offer. And I thank everybody that has joined us. So, with no further ado, and while I can hear her on the mic, I'm going to go ahead and introduce to you Miss Donnetria Eltionea, and I'm going to go off camera just to give her an opportunity to shine. Donnetria, take the floor. We can't hear you. Okay, Donnetria, we can't hear you. Hi, everybody. I had to take me off of being unseen. You guys may not believe this, but must be some forces working against us because we practiced this all day yesterday and everything went great. So I was very excited about it because I think that this lady is a force to be reckoned with. But for some reason, her computer is freezing up and she's not coming through. But we really did practice this. But I want to say salute to everybody that's in the room. Rich, it's so good to see you. Jewel, Jamil, seriously, Mr. Skinny. I want to say thank you guys for coming to at least give us some attention. But I really think that she deserved it. But for whatever reason, her computer is not acting correctly. So she's trying her best to move to the spot that she was in last night, and hopefully it would come open. She has a great presentation, and if by chance it does not work, I will have to do the presentation for her because I want you guys to see her books, see her work, and she showed me pretty much how you can self publish, and she's going to share that with us. But if she can't, I'll share it. But I see her in the space. I'm going to see if perhaps, give me a moment, y'all, and I'm going to see if perhaps I can hear her now. So just give us a moment and hang in here with us. Okay. Well, y'all, I know this is ridiculous because we worked on this yesterday all evening to ensure that this would not happen. And here we go again. And so what I'll do is I'll wing it. She's going to send me the presentation so that I can present her books because she has several, and she went by way of Amazon. So if anyone has an Amazon account, you can go and set up an account in Amazon. I needed her to be telling the story because she can tell you actually, how they charge. But I think you all, if you get to see the books, it'll make more sense to you. And it'll be more real. I don't know what's happening with her connection, but I can tell you this. In Dallas, Texas, in some areas of town, we don't get the best internet connections. I live approximately 3 miles from downtown Dallas, and that's where the courthouses are, the police station, a lot of big corporate headquarters. And I know that they get the internet, but where I live, approximately 3 miles away, we don't have the fast banded internet. We don't have it in our area, and I think they did that for a reason. Of course, my area is the hood, and like I said, I think it's done like that for a reason. I do not know, but I am so happy that you all would, at least hang in here with us to give her an opportunity to come up. I really cannot say what's happening. I do know that it worked last night. We were on here forever trying to ensure that everything went right in the presentation and all of that good stuff. But for some reason, it's not coming up now. And if you would give me a moment and let me just try to go and pull in her information, I'll be right back. I want to shout out Mr. Skinny for that Cash App. Thank you very much, Mr. Skinny. I don't see it. Okay, let me go back to my live. Okay, I don't see it. So let me just go ahead and talk about some things. Um, One of the shows I wanted to do, and I'll talk about it with you guys, is maritime and admiralty law. I had one of my supporters ask me, had I ever heard of that? And the answer is yes. And what maritime and admiralty law is what they're ruling us by. It appears she may be back. Let me just see if we can hear her. Donnetria? Donnetria, can you say something? Okay, I see her and I see her present. Yes, we can.
Yes, can you hear me?
Go ahead. We did.
You can hear me?
Yes. We can hear you say, "Can you hear me?" But that's all we can hear.
Me?
Yeah, can you say something other than "Can you hear me?" Just start talking. She's going to come in. Okay. For some reason, this is bluing, and it was not bluing last night. So y'all can't actually see. And I think it may be doing that because it's coming from her. And she's not connected quite right. So let's just take that down and let me get back to the story. Okay, maritime law has to do with the law of the sea. And admiralty law has to do with police powers. And that's the people who used to guard the sea. Well, actually, not the sea, the docks where the vessels landed. Okay, it's called a dry dock. So, what they do is they rule us by maritime and admiralty law in the courtrooms. Now, the courtrooms are supposed to be ran, if there is such a court, by the law of the land. But what they have done is, because of who we are as a people, they have taken us away from the land and put us on the sea. So anytime you go into a courtroom or a courthouse, you're coming out of your own personal jurisdiction and you're going into their jurisdiction. And when you enter into their jurisdiction, when you're sitting on this side of the bench, they have the little gates. Well, let's just start with the courtroom. The courtroom and the courthouse is supposed to be a leveled playing field. But once you get there, you come to know it is not a leveled playing field. A leveled playing field would be something like the basketball court, the tennis court, the bowling alley. That's leveled, okay? When you get into a courtroom, you're automatically intimidated because, number one, the judge sits high and you have to approach the bench, okay? When you go through those little doors, they have a name for them because what it's made like is the vessel that I was telling you about, the ship, okay? When you go through that, you leave the law of the land and you enter into their world, which is the law of the sea and admiralty. And they call you dead man walking, okay? Because you don't have a win. A lot of people think that they have to have an attorney, and I'm not telling you not to get an attorney because let me just put the disclaimer, I'm not an attorney and I don't profess to be an attorney. I am a researcher and I read, and reading is fundamental. And this is written for us to read, but now if we start reading, then we're held as enemies of the state. But I'm no enemy to the state. I abide by the rules and the laws, but I also have learned some truth that I never knew before, and I try to share it with others. Welcome, Real Time TV. So what I'm telling you is, lawyer in Latin means liar, and attorney means that you're turning your free will over to another that are officers of the court, and you're under their jurisdiction because their duty is to the court. Now, when we go back to the ship, the dock, the things that I was speaking of, maritime, all ships, boats, trains, planes are named under the matriarchal system, which is actually what we as humans are, matriarchal. Of course, back in 325, when Constantine had the meeting at Nicaea, they came out with the patriarchal system. And that's why everybody put everything on the man. Everything is not on the man, it's on the woman, the man with the womb, because we are the only ones that can give life. That's why our energies are so very important. And we need to be in a positive place because we can destroy and we can kill just with the power of the tongue. But when we get women on one accord, using that big mama's energy, the energy, that we know from our grandmothers, the energies that we know that has been passed down for the people that fought very hard to live. When we get that together, we're unstoppable. And that's why we have to protect our sons. And our sons are our sons, whether they are our spouse or our children, our brothers. And we call them sons, not in the way that you gave birth to them. We call them sons because we are mothers, whether we have children or not. We have the ability to have them. So basically, what you know is everything is on a matriarchal system. The woman gives life. So just think of a ship, and that's why they call her a she. If you think of a ship and you think of what's in the ship, it's product, and the product goes from one place to another. They call that transporting, and it goes pretty much through the sea. Okay. So once that product goes to doc, they call it a doc. Well, once the woman goes to the hospital to have a baby, they call in the doctor to deliver the baby. So they call in the guys to come and unload the ship. And when they unload the ship, they're removing the product. Once you remove the product, each product on that ship must have a certificate to verify that it was there. And that's what we do when we have children. We enter into what we don't know is a contract when we receive a birth certificate for our children. And what you do is, if you look at that, it says a certificate of birth, which is a bond. And if you look at that, go look at your birth certificate. They won't have you down as the mother, they won't have you down as a woman, they will have you down as an informant. That's the way birth certificates are written. So once you understand that, that's how they ended up giving us the law of the sea. And it's very convoluted, but again, it's written so that we can know that we're thinking one way and they're thinking another way. They use a language that's called legalese. And in legalese, you're saying person. You think you're talking about a human. But in all honesty, when you say person, you could be talking about a corporation, an association, a partnership. You could be talking about any type of business. That happened with the 14th Amendment. That's why it's very important that we learn the Constitution so that we can know the 10 articles of the Constitution. It's very important to do that. I see Donnetria, and let me see if she can be heard. She's sitting there, but it looks like that she is not coming through. Yeah, she's not coming through. So when you look at the the fact that we're considered vessels, our children are considered product. When we get a birth certificate, we register them over to the state. It's very important that we start reading and learning just the language of legalese. If you don't know, you don't know. I had no clue until I decided to go on this journey of who were we before we were slaves. We had to be somebody. And it had to be more than someone just saying that we were kings and queens from Africa. A lot of us don't even understand that the reason they didn't teach us politics, they didn't teach us civics, they did not teach us finance, they didn't teach us cosmology, is because if we had knowledge of those things, then we would see the game that's being played on us. And they keep us divided so that we won't come together and say, wait a minute, for 530 years we've been trying to overcome, and we're still in the same condition. I'm 63 years old, and nothing has changed for me that I can say I see a vast change. Even the fact that I had a job making decent money is not a change, because now I'm responsible for humongous bills. And so I'm still not in a position to own anything. But that's where the maritime law comes from. And that's why they treat us like they treat us in the court system. Let me see, y'all. Donitra, say something. I can hear noise.
Hello, how you guys doing?
Okay.
How you guys doing?
Well, they can't talk back to you. You would have to look at the comments. They're doing fine. They're waiting on you.
I didn't know if you could hear me or not.
Yeah, we can hear you very good now. I can't see you, and y'all, that is her voice. But now you went blank.
Okay.
But I can hear you. I can still hear you.
I did.
Uh-huh. Keep talking.
Okay. Well, my name is Donnetria Eltionea. I reside in Dallas, Texas right now, and I'm from Oklahoma. I've been in Texas for a long time, so I moved here in 1989. And I started publishing because I
You're
wanted to
breaking up. You're
share
going in and out.
to
Uh,
Garland. So it's a task that I have taken on to inspire and motivate people through writing and also encourage people to write as well. Numerous, I would say, types of books just because I want to reach everyone.
we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
I'm not sure if saying that I have published a variety of
Okay, you're going in and out for some reason.
poetry books, and I there.
Okay, y'all. I appreciate y'all patience and her trying to get it together. Give me a moment, please. I appreciate y'all hanging in here with us, but I really believe in giving people chances, and I really don't know what's happening with this situation because we really did practice this, but it is very hard. Um, Her internet, I believe, is going in and out. It's just going in and out. So whenever she gets it right or can be heard, I will stop talking and allow her to be heard. But I don't know. This is kind of hard. I know y'all probably think this is about the craziest shit y'all ever heard, but I'm just going to go back to what I was talking about until we can, you know, hear from her. I saw a young man on Lady I Look at Dr. G, and I think everybody should go and see this young man. I, am a Moorish Asiatic American by bloodline. I don't belong to any organization or affiliation, although the Honorable Noble Drew Ali set up the Moorish Science Temples for, it was actually the Holy Science Temple in the beginning as the civics organization to teach us civics, to bring us back. So when I say I'm a Moorish American by bloodline, that means I am also the people that they call Indian, because we're all one and the same. What happened? They gave us what they call nom de guerres, which is names, tags, legal tags for legal statuses to take us out of the human family. And so we were not taught that. So we only know what we know. I'm not the world's greatest scholar. I've just been studying for the past 8 years on who we were before we were slaves. I'm not into the metaphysics of it, although I believe and know that it's true. I just, my mind has not been able to process it. So give me one moment, everybody. Thank you. So my mind can't process it, but it does not mean that it is not true because I can't process it. The metaphysical part of us is the second body that we have that projects the energy that we get with people, or, when you have a bad feeling or a good feeling, the frequencies in sound and the sound waves. So I can't go off into all of that like I'm this great scholar. I can only share with you what I've learned, and that's what I try to do. And that's why I, have to let everybody know that I'm not an attorney and I don't profess to be, but I do know this: what the system has done is made it almost illegal to talk about anything that pertains to law. And they did that so that we will not know who we are. We are the heirs to the world's largest estate, and it's called the Sister QB Trust. And you can look into that. And because we are the heirs, then we catch the most hell in the world. And it is very hard. One reason that we enter into contracts without our knowledge is because the European that runs this country, world, whatever you want to call it, they believe in karma, and they know the karmic effect is what goes around comes around. We called it the law of reciprocity. You reap what you sow. So what they have to do is get us to volunteer to participate in whatever it is they're doing against us, so that the blood is not on their hands. It comes back to us because we participated. And when you look at that logic, then you should start understanding or wondering or knowing that's why we're in the hopeless condition that we're in. Being in this hopeless condition, that makes us then turn against one another, not because we don't like each other, but because of the conditions in which we live dictates for that to happen. We have food deserts in most of the largest cities throughout the states, where you have the most people. They don't have grocery stores that have, fresh fruit and vegetables and things of that nature. We own nothing. We have no big manufacturing companies. We have no oil and gas companies, or we may have one or two oil and gas stations, and we may have one or two fast food restaurants, but we don't own anything. And when you have someone controlling your life, then it's very hard for you to operate independently in your thoughts. So a lot of things that we think and we do, we think that we're thinking of them and we're, coming up with these ideas. In all honesty, we're not. What's normally happening is we're being brainwashed into thinking that we're coming up with these ideas. But honestly, it's ideas that have been in place for us for many years. I did not start this off, but now that I have a few people here with me saying happy birthday, Kwame Brown. Kwame turned 40 today, and I want to just say happy birthday. And I know you all guys feel the same way. And we can just sing that little song to ourselves. Happy birthday to you. Um, but getting back on topic, so when you start learning, I don't know if you guys are aware of what we call the straw man, and I didn't name it the straw man. Uh, the 14th Amendment did. And the straw man is actually you, an individual, but it's not you. Let's just get that straight. It's your name, the likeness of your name. Salute, Black Mamba King. It's the likeness of your name. It's spelled the exact same way as your name. Unfortunately, it's grammatically incorrect because we were taught when you're writing that you would have a capital letter for a name and then all other letters were lowercase. But if you look at your, I would say, if you look at your driver's license, if you look at the bills that come in the mail that we call bills, if we look at anything that we call legal or lawful, if you look at any of that, then you will see it comes in all caps. All caps basically signifies a corporation. And as I stated earlier, the 14th Amendment gave the word person the meaning of a corporation or association, an affiliation, um, partnership. So when you look at that, you then begin to understand uh, how we're being misled, actually, because they see us as children. One of the things that our ancestors did was they gave up actually their nationality for a chance at liberation, freedom. But when the emancipation took place, a lot of people don't understand that emancipation did not mean freedom. It means we were transferred from one slave owner to another slave owner. And that's where we are. Uh, the federal government slave today. So it's really interesting that all of this stuff is written, and we can go to the Library of Congress to seek this information. You can look in the United States codes. A lot of people, that's why I did the difference between lawful and legal. Do you know the difference? Because a lot of things that we think happen to us, we think it happens to us because um, it's unlawful. Well, it may be unlawful, but it could be legal. And it could be legal, but unlawful. And so when you look at, damn, what do that mean? It's convoluted when you think about it. But if you think about it and you reduce it to writing, I saw a video where this man, I did a video in about 10 minutes or so. He broke it down in 49 seconds. And what the gentleman said was that anytime you're dealing with lawful, you're dealing with the de jure law, which is the true law, the good law, nature's law, God's law. You're dealing with the Constitution and the law of the land. The law of the land is just very simple. And what it says is if you do no harm to me and I do no harm to you, then we're fine. Every person is their own person, and law begins and ends with you. The reason they tell us um, that uh, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Well, see, we hear that, but we really don't know what that means. But they telling us some good shit, I'm going to tell you now. Because the reason it's no excuse is because we brought the law through civilization. And because we don't know who we are, we forgot who we were, then ignorance is no excuse. We Now let's talk about us. And we can see this so well about us. Just look at us on YouTube. We have an enemy that is so great. We do not have time to be fighting amongst ourselves. When I came to the internet, I just wanted to tell my damn story. I just really thought I had something to say. But I've been here for at least 7 or 8 months, and I have yet to make it to 1,000 subscribers. Had it not been for Kwame, Mr. Skinny, it's been real and real one, I wouldn't have the 800 that I have today. So I'm truly grateful because nobody wants to hear what I'm saying today. They want to hear some shit about who did what, who said what, who sucking this, who fucking that. And boy, I look at people that I know that just before that they entered on Kwame's stage, these people didn't have many subscribers like myself. But now I look at these people, some of them have 10,000, some of them have 12,000, but I know this is the subject matter. And I'm not knocking anybody for their subject matter. I don't have a problem with that because trust me, y'all, this is some shit I do for free. I do this all the time. I research, I read, and I share this all the time. We talk about how bad the men are and then how bad the women are. And I think we forget that the story that they want us to believe and the one that I grew up believing, because I grew up, in the church, and then I became a born again Christian on my own. And when I realized that being that they tell us that we're here in this place called America and we have freedom of speech and freedom of religion. But I beg to differ because if you don't profess Christ and say you're a Christian, you don't belong here. This is just the way people feel. And our people feel that way, but they can't tell me or let me see no evidence of what they believe in making a difference in their lives. We excuse the behavior of what's happening to us in the name of believing that somebody is going to rescue us and help us. I'm not against anybody because that's true for all religions. They believe what they believe, but I learned who we are. And this country, we were here before they came, and we came from an Islamic background, but not Islamic in the sense of a creed, but Islamic from the sense of science and knowledge. And mostly everything they use are acronyms. So Islam is I, self, law, am, master. I, self, law, am, master. Now, I'm not taking away those who believe in the creed. That is what they need to do, and that's what they do. But I'm telling you a lot, we get dogma. We don't get true religion, which true religion is the study of nature and how the constitution of man correlates with nature. So anything that takes us away from nature is not good for us. And anything that keeps us in harmony with nature is. So I'm not trying to sway anybody to think or believe anything that they don't want to think or believe. I just challenge you to, if you have issue with anything that I might share, research it. And you can prove me wrong. But you don't have to prove me anything. I say grab the knowledge, because knowledge is power. And it is written, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. This is wordplay that we live in every day. It's gameplay every day. We need each other. We need our sons, our husbands, our fathers. We need y'all. And y'all need us mothers, sisters, daughters. We need each other. I oftentimes say that the battle is not won on the battlefield. The battle is won in the war room, at the strategy table. And so if we start looking at things as they are, which is military tactics, that's what we have, military tactics. So if we start understanding, understanding, and overstanding that that's what is against us, then we can then know how to fight back, because we gotta fight back, people. We got to, for our baby's sake. We say we care about the future and we want our children to know. We should have libraries in our homes. Remember when we were growing up and we had all of those encyclopedias, and we had the great big dictionaries and the humongous Bibles? And after a while, people tell you to get rid of them papers. You ain't doing nothing but causing roaches and stuff. Um, no, knowledge is power. Knowledge is everything. And when Kwame was talking about boys reading on a fourth grade level, well, we know that it's even worse than that, because from, kindergarten to the third grade is when you learn how to read. And if you don't have it by the fourth grade, you're kind of in trouble, because from the fourth grade to until you die, you read to learn. And so when you listen to me, you pretty much gonna hear the same old shit being regurgitated. And that's because repetition strengthens and confirms, and faith comes naturally. So you have to hear something over and over and over and over again for it to resonate and for you to put it to memory. So I sometimes feel disappointed, because I don't have 1,000 subscribers, or it seems nobody really want to hear shit I have to say. But I have to then look at what's going on with me at that point when I'm feeling like that, because I know that this is why I came here, and I was born for this. And so if I have to walk alone, sometimes my son, he's afraid for his mother because of the things that I share. And, my daddy taught us that if you were born to burn, you ain't going to drown. So unfortunately, I don't know which way I was born to go, and I really don't give a damn, because I don't control it anyway. What I do is try to live the best life that I can in integrity, in honor, because I had a mother that worked for white people. And people tell me saying yes, sir, and no, sir, is really respect. I beg to differ with them. You see, I'm 63, and I grew up in the um, late 50s, and all through the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and where we are today. And I used to go to work with my mom because she was a maid in the Europeans' home. And they had children that were younger than me. And I was a little bitty girl. And they had children that were younger than me. And those children, my mom was saying yes, sir, and no, sir, too. So ain't no way in the hell you going to make me believe yes, sir, and no, sir is respect. Now, I say yes, sir, and no, sir to older individuals because that's what they're accustomed to. And out of respect for them, then I will say that to them if they're respectful or respectable. Because, I tell old people, hell, I cuss out old people if you disrespect with old people. I don't give a damn who you are. Let's come with respect. Let's respect while we're together, and let's leave with respect. Because you have numbers does not give you the right to mistreat or take advantage of individuals. But I learned that, you know, really now, what we must do is teach our children. See, you know, some people say, "Oh, he's such a nice kid. He says yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am." But I know some people that say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, but they put a gun up to your damn head and say, "Ma'am, this is a robbery. Don't make it a murder." So just because they say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, we need some substance behind the ma'am, you know, and the sir. We need some substance. When they put you in the nation of the penitentiary, we don't even understand. I was looking up some words in the dictionary, and they call the prison a nation. We don't understand this game that's being played against us. And there is a sister who wrote The Matrix. And this sister who wrote The Matrix, she's been giving interviews on YouTube. Her name is Sophia Stewart. I wish y'all would check her out because she was on this interview and these people were asking her, "Let me just ask you a question. You know, this scene in the movie that did so and so and so and so, were you thinking about that when you wrote the book?" And she sounds like myself because my son heard her and said, "Let me let you hear yourself." And he sent me the video. But she told the guy, you know, really, she gets so damn tired of people asking her these questions. They stole her transcript, okay? And when they stole her transcript, they waited some years because The Matrix was actually about an Asiatic male, okay, named Muhammad Ali as a hero because she was in love with him and they were engaged to be married. They were together from 81 to 83. So that's who the Matrix character is all about. Okay. And they stole her transcript when she was trying to shop it around. But they waited until the 90s before they put it out. And the Terminator, she wrote that too. The Terminator was like you know, you have the Terminator 1, Terminator 2, the Matrix, and then this latest Matrix that came out. Well, or was it the Terminator? I think it was the Matrix, the latest one that came out. The reason why probably it didn't go so well is because, you know, she got her rights back. They had to give her $3 billion on them stealing and growing the thing like that. But what she was letting the people know is, I told you I wrote the book, and you telling me about a damn movie that somebody did. So salute. So that's an insult, and people don't get that. But that's really an insult because what she was letting them know, what she was letting them know. Thank you, Jamil. Thank you very much. And you can drop a like and you can drop a cash app if you choose to. And I got that from Mr. Skinny because he does that very well. So I said if I ever go live, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm not just begging. But what she was telling them is every great book that you've ever heard of, okay? Or let's say this, every great movie that you've ever heard of came from a great book. And so what she was telling them is, why y'all keep asking me about some shit that I didn't have nothing to do with when they took it from my script? You know, so don't ask me, you know, what was I thinking when he did that in the movie? I didn't have shit to do with that. I wrote the book. And then she would name these great movies and the authors. And you know, like Kwame would tell you, treat me like you treat those white people. Then she would tell them, because they call her the mother of the Matrix, and she got them straight right away. No, she's not. She wrote that. She's the author. She's a prodigy. She left the 7th grade and entered college. Okay? She's not no damn mother of no manuscript. She also gives you the scripture word that speaks of the matrix in the written word as the womb of woman, because that's what the matrix is. the womb. See, everything goes back to womb. Remember, I was telling you about the ship and the vessel and why they put everything on the water? And that's because when you're in your mother's womb, okay, you are on the water, or I should say in the water. And it's the umbilical cord, okay, that gives you life while you're on or in the water until you enter into this realm after the ninth month. It's so, boy, y'all just really don't understand how cold this shit is when you really start learning the truth and how simple it is. It is so very simple. And they take our history. Like I said, we are those people. We are the people that they call the Indians. We're the people that they call the Geechee. We're the people that they call the Druids. We're the people that they call the Berbers. We're the people that they call the Sabians. But we don't know any of this. We're all of those people. They separated us by tags so that we can be against each other, because the only way a few can rule over many is to divide us. Then we're conquered. So you are who you are, and you are who you say you are, not who I say you am, who you say you are. But I am. And that's why whenever you see me write I am, I'm going to always capitalize the I and the A, because I am that I am that I am that I am. I am. Once we start standing in our truth, but we can't get our truth if we don't read and learn our truth. Then some would say, well, I don't know why you believe that shit, because the white man wrote the Bible. The white man wrote this. No, the European didn't write anything that they didn't take from us. I don't know how many of you all have ever seen the movie Eddie Murphy starred in. It's called Trading Places. In that movie, Eddie Murphy was homeless, a bum on the street, and it was two brothers. One was named Mortimer, and the other one could have been Bartholomew or some shit. I don't remember the name. But what they did, they passed by Eddie Murphy, who was the homeless, I'm going to call him bum because that's what they called him, bum on the street. And what they did was they said, what if we took this little fella and switch places, straighten him up, get him a suit, put him in a suite. Let's see how he would do. And that's what they did. Well, that's what happened to us in real life. See, everything is done in symbols and metaphors. And when you start understanding that everything is not meant to be taken literally, we put morals on everything. But some shit morals don't have nothing to do with. And that's what you got to learn, to know the difference between the two, which takes me back to lawful and legal. Law deals more in morality, whereas legality is the operation of doing what they do. Very interesting that you understand that concept, because that can help you when you're dealing with a system that use legalese against you. I just saw that young man on Dr. G, and I said that, everybody should check him out. Um, his name is Yakub L. Uh, and he showed a document where they come up with the race definitions. And it's come from the Office of Budget and Management. Now, why would they be talking about race in the Office of Budget and Management? Damn, that ought to make us ask a question. Well, let me tell you why. When you look at all of the different categories, and this is like when you're filling out an application, and y'all have to forgive me. I'm one of them people, my mind travels. And so I'm subject to jump from one damn thing and then take you to another, dimension. That's the way my mind operates. And so I have to just go with the operation of my mind. But one thing that he was showing, the legalese of what I explained to you guys about persons. Persons mean you're out of the human family. And a person only really exists in writing. It does not exist as a natural sentient being. Okay? So you should not answer to anything other than a man or a woman. Even when you see that they use the word individual, individual doesn't mean what you think it means. Individual does not mean what you think. See, those are code words. So it was people that looked like us that sold us out. Now, I'm not saying they went to the counter and said, "Here, I'm gonna give me 5 niggas and I'm gonna sell them to you." No, I'm not saying they sold us out like that. But we see it every day with what's going on with the big mega churches. These people collect millions every week, but the neighborhood around them is deteriorating and gone. And you ask yourself, how can they come to this neighborhood every damn day? Some of them so cold blooded now. Shit, they have helicopters to drop them down at the top of the church and they go in through the damn roof. Okay? That's a sad epithet. I mean, how could this be? But it's like that. And it's like that because we, the people, sit passively by and acquiesce to everything they tell us. And in law, if anything should happen, and if you don't rebut it, then that means that you do what they call tacitly acquiesce. Anything you don't rebut. That's why when I was working and I got an evaluation, I always wrote a response to my evaluation. If it was a good one, I thanked my manager for it being a good one. If it was a bad one, I rebutted what I was against in what was written. But we must start learning how to fight the way the rules of engagement are. Because if we don't, we're not going to make it out without going back into a hopeless condition that we were in. And we say that we want our children to have such a better life. What are we offering our children? It's certainly not education. The system that they call education is docility training for animals. And what that means is to keep us comfortable right where we are. They want us to be comfortable. And we think that it's going to get better. We think that it's going good. But in all honesty, we haven't moved a step from the time that they told us that we were free up until today. Dr. Claude Anderson, if you ever looked at him, um, Dr. Claude Anderson said the same percentage that we owned, which is, I think, 1%. It could even be 0.1. I'm normally more factual, but I just thought of him and threw him out there. But that's the same percentage that we own today as far as wealth goes. And a lot of people think that um, immigration is an issue. No. What we don't understand is status, jurisdiction. If you learn status and if you learn jurisdiction, and if you learn that a foreigner does not necessarily mean distance. See, when we start understanding that there are 3 United States and there are 3 constitutions, and when you understand that there is the Union States of the Republic, the Confederation, and the Federation, then we will learn to understand that, understand and overstand that they're whooping us with law. And then I asked, since I started knowing who I am, I asked my people, I'm talking about people that's close to me that are Christian. They told us that Christ came to set the captives free, and that Christ came so that we may have life and life more abundantly. they told us that Christ fulfilled the law. I'm here to ask y'all or tell y'all. Let me just say, I'm here to tell y'all this evening. I'm here to tell y'all this evening that once I started researching and learning and realizing how they're whooping us with the law, my question became, well, shit, what law did he fulfill? I just want to know. If anybody can tell me that, you can put it in the comments, because I like to know what law did he fulfill. Because they're whooping us with contract law. Everything we do is contract. It's called presentments. Whether we believe it or not, they're contracts. And all contracts can be negotiated. I learned how to sign any document. I learned how to sign it. So when you sign a document, and basically people won't tell you. They tell you they're here to uplift fallen humanity. And then once you start asking questions, they tell you, oh, well, see, you got to pay $1,500 for my package, and then it'll help you be free. But y'all, they stole our birthright, and our birthright is free. Thank you. Thank you, beautiful, whoever that is. I can't even say their name, so I'm not going to even try to fuck it up. So I just want to say thank you for hitting my cash app. I wish I had that little slide Mr. Skinny have with Umar Jump. Hit the cash app. Hit the I don't have it, but I can sing it. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. And that's supposed to be my humor. I can be humorous sometimes. I'm not always serious. I do my best to try to do a little bit of both. But sometimes I fuck it up and people think I'm fussing and mean. So, I am who I am and I do the best that I can. Everything I do, I try to do it in love. I try to do it in peace, in truth, in freedom, and I always try to give justice because that's what Jesus stands for, justice. But of course, we gets none. No justice. And they say just us because we're not concerned with you all. So what I would just say to us is I was on the road, y'all, but see, I had that sometimes disease. So sometimes shit I lose my point in my train of thought. And I laugh at myself more than anybody ever could. It should be funny sometimes. Like I started in this seat. It's a beautiful seat. I love my chair. I was up at the top of the screen. I don't know if nobody noticed, but since I've been sitting here, I done been on a damn roller coaster ride because it goes down a little at a time. And I got this chair as a gift from a very, 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 very dear person that I love very much. And she paid a lot of money for this chair. And she looked and researched to find me this perfect chair because she knew that I was a big girl. And she made sure that it would accommodate me. And so it's supposed to seat an individual of 400 pounds. And y'all, I ain't no damn 400 pounds, but I did gain some weight. And I think it's the weight gain that's got me going in a roller coaster on this chair because it is no other reason for this chair to keep sinking down on me as much as I pull it up. But I do the best I can. And I sit here and I'll be up and I'll be down. And she's trying to find me another one. And I love her dearly. And I know she don't want to hear it. But my number one fan, I said she was one of my number one fans. She is my number one fan. And that's, I ain't gonna tell you. She know who she is. Okay. I'm just a cousin of someone who bought me a chair. Yeah, that shit corny, ain't it? I know. But we all need to bring Kwame in our life because his communication skills are excellent. And if we could communicate a little better, I think that we could get each other to hear us because I need y'all to understand when you sign your name on any document, you should write above it, all rights reserved. And Look at any contract that you've ever signed and read the fine print, and you will see within that contract they have written all rights reserved. That means something because those are negotiable documents. And then if something should happen and you all have to fight about it, then what you would come to understand is that what you would understand is that you have the right. And when you sign that document, you give up every right, every right. And that's what we do. And then we argue and we get mad. We say we black and we proud. And then they treat us like we black and we get mad. And we say it's just because we black, but we're not black people. There is no landmass that we can tie black to. We don't have a Blackland, Blackadonia. We don't have that. Black is a legal status. And every time we say we black and proud, they say, yeah, we got them. Because they know we don't know any better. If you call yourself anything, you don't have to call yourself Moorish American if you don't feel comfortable calling yourself that. But you have to be who you are, and that's who I am. But as far as the civilization and the nation, the whole landmass used to be known as Asia. Asia Minor, Asia Major, Asia Soul. So we're Asiatic Americans because this is our land. Everywhere is our land. You know how they say, oh, they got black people in China, they got black people in Indonesia, they got black people in Malaysia, they got black people in the Philippines, they got. There is not a place that exists that we don't. We are the original people. All of us are actually from one big family, but we went off to our own spots and created our own nations. And that's why we're different. We're more alike than we are different. If we only understood, our government was set by who? The woman. The woman set the government. But it has been distorted and it has been changed because the men flipped it. The men flipped it. And just think about it, y'all. We are woman and man. But now they want a genderless society. And so what the European people are beginning to realize, they going with this genderless stuff, it's deeper than what we think about the homosexuality thing. That thing that they came up with in 1972, and you can look that up. And not only can you look it up on the internet, you can look it up actually in the Library of Congress. And then people tell you that the internet is no good, but you can go to the Library of Congress from the internet, from your home computer. You can write and ask a question. They will do the research for you and they will send it to you. They will. They will send it to you. Whatever question you have, they'll send it to you. They'll send it to you. Or, yeah, I'm trying to read the things and I'm not that good trying to read and staying on point. So I was trying to see if somebody had a question or something or was saying something. Seriously, that's beautiful. You say Kwame is changing lives. And I'm not going to say the rest of that, but you said that he's listening. And that's absolutely beautiful. I know that you have it written, but it sounds better keeping it written. And just let me say that. It may not sound good. You know, I may not say it with the love in which you're writing it because I know that's love. And that's a beautiful thing. And he has that effect on us all, you know, to just look at yourself a little bit different and see if it's something different that you can do in communicating than what you're accustomed to doing. Because I'm one of those people that the way he listened to people say, I could never do that. I would be cutting people off. Shit, they wouldn't get two words out. I'd be cutting them off, and I'd be hollering and screaming. I'd probably done got my ass whooped, but I would be hollering and screaming at the damn people because I can't listen to stupidity. And he just sit there calmly and listen. You know, I was looking at that interview again last night with that guy who said that he was called Tough Love. And, you know, I don't want to get off into no defending myself mode. I'm not here for no beef, but I must say this. It was so irritating to hear him keep saying, my thought process is that, you know, I'm glad that's your thought process, but you are qualifying that when you say my thought process. So you can't make him have the process that you have. Just, you know, say what you got to say, sir, and let's keep it moving. But it was very irritating. It's so much stuff that I see that, you know, you just can't believe really exists in real life. But this stuff is really going on. But when you look at where we are and what we need to be doing, um, I seen the Willie Lynch letter. I think seriously, maybe you said something about it. One thing that I come to believe about that letter is that was written by the CIA because that's the branch that does a lot of the dirty work, the CIA. And they're so entrenched and so deep and so undercover. A lot of those people don't get to come back to reality. But that's taking me back to the lady with the Matrix. You know, she said she just got tired of people talking about she's the mama of a transcript. No, you know, mothers give life. She wrote a book, and all great movies come from a book. And she named, like I said, some authors and stuff. And then she said, "Do you call Bill Gates the father of Microsoft? Do you call Steve Jobs the father of Apple? No, you don't call these people that shit. So don't start calling me no mother of no matrix. I'm the author, I'm the creator." And, you know, she has her third eye open, and she's a shaman. Her grandmother was one. So she can see things, and she visualized a lot of things she wrote about in her book back in the 80s are taking place right now today with technology, because we believe technology is ahead of us and just came. But no, technology has been here. It belongs to us. There is nothing in life that does not belong to us. Okay? What we're doing is trying to navigate, that goes back, navigate, because we were rulers of the sea. We're the people that taught Columbus how to get in the water. And now they say he discovered America and saw some copper colored people. Well, copper colored people. That take you back to the scripture in the Bible. It was been 2,000 years ago. Remember when they talked about what Jesus looked like? He was copper colored, with woolly hair. Hmm. You really have to start. You kind of almost have to get an empty slate. You have to get a clean slate with your mind and say, it's a minister. His name is Ray Hagen. And when he start out, what he does is he always say, you know, he put up a circle. And he said, this circle is, you know, what I know, my memory, my knowledge. He says, and what I'd like for you to do is to realize that there are things outside of this that I don't know. And when you do that, then you can open yourself up to expanding the circle and learning more, because this shit sounds crazy. It sounds like we making this shit up, but this is real and it's written. And then you know how they say, if you want to keep something from a nigger, just put it in a book. And if you put it in the book, they're not going to get it because they can't read. Well, some of us know how to read, but we won't read. But reading is fundamental, and we must read. In order to know anything about anything, you got to know the instructions on how to make whatever it is you're trying to do work. And there are some things you make up the instructions and you tell how it works. That's the way life is. And we got to get to reading. But then when I started reading, and then I realized we honestly don't know, linguistics like we should, because they don't teach us phrenology and morphology. They didn't teach us etymology. And I suggested that everybody go online and get the free etymology dictionary online. I would like for, you to just, you can get your phone and just ask Google for the etymology dictionary online. And then go in that dictionary and then look up the word smart. And, a lot of people love to talk about how smart they are. The etymology is what we call the etymon of a word, which is the seed, the origin of a word. So it'll tell you when the word first started being used. So, like, sometimes people say, like they say the word black, we're black people. But in ancient, the word wasn't ancient. Ancient, we don't have a date for ancient. But that word started being used at a certain period of time. It was not ancient. So, what we have to do is come to know that it's a game being played on us. We're participating in the game. And that's what Kanye West meant when he said that slavery was a choice, that a lot of times, and people got angry with him. But if you look at the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, the 13th Amendment says the only way that you can be a slave again is voluntary servitude, or if you commit a crime. And so we volunteer for a lot of things that we don't even know that we're volunteering for. That's right. And see, one of the things seriously said that, yeah, because we were never supposed to learn to read. But the only thing about it is we the one who taught them how to read. What they did is took what we knew, separated us so that we can forget who we are. And yes, if you go with the story of Moses in the 40 years in the desert and how the generation died off, you can see how the generations can die off in 40 years. And then if I have a new crop of individuals, and if I teach them nothing but what I want them to know, then that's what they're going to grow up teaching their children. And one thing about the Board of Education, when you look at their mission statement, when they said that they're going to teach their children to perfectly do what they imperfectly did. And that's to keep us in a state of um, in slavery without calling it slavery. But slavery by any other name is still slavery. I want to see what real time said. And let me, y'all, give me a minute because I feel like I have to cough. If you don't mind, let me get some water. I guess I didn't have to tell you I had to cough, but give me a moment. I guess what this is telling me is basically I'm going to have to do at least an hour because if I go longer, it seems like I start coughing. So thank you guys for being patient and waiting on me. But yeah, real time, you're in the right area, and yeah, just keep researching. If I love to hear that word. In case you guys didn't know it, I have journals that I have for sale. I have journals. I have T-shirts. I have cups. I have a variety of things, and we're just trying to find out a way how I can get it so that I can, show people what I have to choose from. But I am a strong believer in writing. Writing is very important. Uh, that's why we have a word. And so, what we must do also is, in order to change a man thinking, this is what Noble Drew Ali said, you first must change its literature because what they have given us is not quite true. So, we have to start, if we don't have it, start back building libraries because all Asiatics have libraries in their home. And what you have to do is you need to have dictionaries, but you should get the older dictionaries. Don't just go run out and buy the latest dictionary. Buy the oldest dictionaries. I just bought several dictionaries, and they are not cheap. But you go to the half price bookstore. You can go to Amazon. You can go to Thrifty Books online, and you can go to Etsy online. They have a lot of the older books. But when you have the older books, you get the pure definition. It'll take you back to the etymon if you do the older books. So I just suggest to everybody, reading really is fundamental, but when you come to find out that you really ain't reading because you really don't even know how they play with the words, and trust me, y'all, they play with them words. And we're thinking, uh, like I said, would, uh, if somebody would, uh, if somebody would look on their phone and look up the word smart, and tell us what that word says, it says pain, and everything is smart now. Remember, we got the smartphone, the smart TV, the smart car, smart. Dimple D, do me a favor and look up in your etymology dictionary and look up smart and throw it in the chat for me. I'm sure most of you guys was there on Mr. Skinny the other night when I put the definition of queen in the chat. Real time. If you can, look up queen for me and see. We need to understand that all vowels are interchangeable. So that means that, we spell queen today, Queen, but it was spelled Quean in its origin. They changed it, and they'll give you the year that they changed it to mean the wife of a king. They'll tell you when that started happening. But it's very interesting how this stuff works. And how they play on words, and we thinking they're talking about one thing and they're talking about something totally different. It's very interesting when you start understanding jurisdiction and territory. A lot of us don't know that Washington D.C. is the United States. That jurisdiction is a 10-mile radius, but it's written in documents for us to know. And we don't read, so we don't know. And a lot of things we don't even have an idea that we don't know. So we don't even know we have a need to know. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of funny like that. But when I started learning different stuff, I wanted to share it with everybody. And it's kind of just like when you first accept Christ as your Lord and Savior. You want everybody to be saved. You want everybody to live right. You want everybody to do right. Well, it's kind of like that when you start finding out who you are as a people. And you want everybody to get it, and you want everybody to see it the way you see it. But, you know, I had to come to realize that it's not going to happen like that, because this is some devastating stuff to find out your whole life. You believed in a make believe and a fantasy, and you've experienced, because it's a lot of things that you asked for in life that you never got. And it wasn't even big things or material things. It was probably just, don't let my lights get cut off, or let me make it to work on these fumes till I get paid. It's everyday simple things. But it's amazing that you have to come to reality and say, well, let me just look at the conditions around me, and let me see if what I believe is evidence. Because whatever you believe or whatever there should be some truth, evidence of truth in whatever it is. And there is no way in the earth you can make me believe, with us being in the conditions in which we live as a people, because this is a system thing. This is not an individual not wanting or not choosing to do good or right. No, this is a systemic thing. And when you understand, and I told y'all about the book, and anyone that wanted, I told them if they want, you can just send me an email. And I had my ticker tape up there. And y'all, I realized that everything today was going wrong, because I had put Donnetria's information up there. Let me see what this is. Okay. She's thinking maybe it's her internet. Yeah, she's thinking maybe it's her internet. um, Damn, I was saying something, but I don't know what I was saying. Oh, yes, I do. I had the wrong one up. That's what it was. I had the one up, and I had put her information on there, but when I started reading it, I saw that it was the one from when my niece was on here. And I just noticed that. So, that's Murphy's Law. Whatever could go wrong will go wrong. This one is the one that I did today on Who Must File. So, you set these things up, y'all, and I'm getting better. I'm getting a lot better, and I hope y'all are enjoying this. Y'all are, damn, I don't even know if I said enjoying. Yeah, I think this is probably getting to be that time of day. Because I swear, I think I'm just saying anything right now. And Lord knows. But I don't even know what I said. But y'all charge it to my head and not to my heart. I just hate that the things did not go well, because I wanted you guys to see her books and things like that. And you still can go out on Amazon and put her name in, and you'll see all of her different books that she has written. But yeah, this is Nikki again. That's not her. I thought I had her information. I typed it up, but I don't see it. But anywho, let me get back to what we were talking about. That's what smart means, C. Roberts. That's what smart means, Dimple D. Okay. So when you start looking at, we think smart just mean, that we know a lot, right? But look at the definition of smart: to hurt, to bite, to ache, to sting. Well, that's what this smart technology is doing to us. Hi, Dawn. Salute. Okay. Thank you, real time. Yeah, so when you look at that, you know, we look at a word one way, but they're teaching their children and they know a different way. And then they're coming up with this thing talking about the critical race theory. They don't want that taught in school. And what that means is they don't want us, the little untrue history that they do share about us, they don't even want that talked about in the schools now. They said that we're blaming their children for what happened to us. But isn't it ironic how we are the people that can't even remember our past? We can't give respect and honor to our ancestors without them saying that that's a problem. May it never be. We're the only group of people that don't really acknowledge our ancestors, and that's sad. We do not acknowledge or think about or mention Big Mama or Granddaddy or Pawpaw or Mama, and then even our great grandmothers and grandparents. So it's really something. I don't know. Uh, we have to just start living in our truth, y'all. All of us used to run around and say, we got Cherokee in our family. Oh yeah, we got Choctaw in our family. We got No, we are all the same people. We are those people. We are those people. I mean, I don't know if y'all remember when Elizabeth Warren was running for office, and if you go and research the what they call Indian Constitution, and there's some real good laws, but see what they don't tell us, the treaties apply to us Asiatic Moorish Americans. The treaties are the laws of the land, and all treaties that were enforced during that time and any treaties to come. So what you come to learn is the de jure law, the law of the land, is constitutional law, and that's the law that speaks to the treaties and the Constitution. And then the colorable law, which is color. And if you go and download the PDF Black's Law Dictionary, fourth edition, it will really help you to understand some things. Then you will learn that color is artificial and colorable is a similar to something, a simulation, a simulacrum, but it is not what is real. And then you put it with the law of the statutes, the ordinances, the articles that we're governed by, then you'll understand that we get color of law and we don't get de jure law. Now, I don't know if y'all understood me because it sounded like I was really messing up some words, but I hope you understood what I was telling you. But you can look up these words. It's always good to have a law dictionary, and you can get the Black's Law anywhere from the fourth to the eighth edition. Bouvier's Law Dictionary. And remember, the older the books, the better. I'm going to ask y'all for one more moment, and I'm going to cough again. One moment. Damn, I'm going to have to cough again. Thank you, Don. That's so sweet. I'm trying to feel better, and it feels like I'm getting better sometimes. But then, uh, when you have congestive heart failure, you get a lot of mucus buildup. And then I had something similar to a head cold, and so that didn't make it any better. And my nose was stopped up on one side and burning on the other. And I was down for about a week and a half, but I'm feeling a whole lot better. But every now and then, for some reason, start getting choked. So I greatly appreciate you. I'm doing everything I can to feel better. But what book is it, Dawn, that you was talking about getting? So I can know what you're talking about, because you said you were wanting to get a book. What's the name of the book that you're going to try to get? Because if it's Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, the only thing you guys need to do is just give me your email address. And I have my email address scrolling down there. If you send me an email, I can send you that booklet at no cost to you. Uh, so that's another thing. With our knowledge, we should be learning. And I'm going to tell y'all, if we really understood that this world was built on a matriarchal system, I'd like for y'all to look up Queen Khalifa, and Queen Europa, and just read a little bit about the warriors back in the day, and so we can really see who we are and what we should be doing as women. Instead of us dividing the room, we all should find a way to make the room full. But I understand for me, and I believe it's the same for everybody, what we have to do is first deal with our own issues, because change starts from inside out. And I know that I am an opinionated person. So a lot of things I say is opinion. Some of the things I say is really truth, but it may not be your truth. So I understand all of that. But I understand that behavior is behavior. And when you start looking at the way a person acts, you can't even say some of the things we used to say, because the psychology that we got came from a man named Sigmund Freud. And then there is this doctor who came up with this theory that, we are different people because of the shapes of our heads. So I have that information in one of my prior videos in the description. But I'm telling you, when you start learning that law begins and ends with you, and as long as you live by the five principles of love, peace, truth, freedom, and justice, you're not going to do harm to anyone. But by the same token, if you're harmed, then you have the right to defend against, anybody or anything. You have that right. So, we just have to learn that we as women control the energy that can make this whole world change around. We have to show that nurturing and that love and that caring, but it has to start with that nurturing, the love, and the caring of that little girl that's inside of each of us. Because a lot of us, our little girls, have been wounded very badly, and we didn't have anybody that we could talk to or that we could trust. And when you don't know how bad you've been wounded, because a lot of us don't know, because we suppress it. We suppress the memories, we suppress the pain. And so what it does is it has a way of coming out and causing us to act out in other ways. If you don't deal with pain, I guarantee you, pain will deal with you. And for me, my pain, the way it dealt with me is I became the savior, I thought, to mankind. and I thought I could save the world and help everybody. So, I never cared about being rich or having money, because if I did, I would just give it away. Not that I didn't want it and that I didn't need it. It's just that I knew that I would give it away because I'm always trying to help somebody do something or be something greater than what they were a moment ago. You know. Now I'm a real nigga now. Don't think that I'm this angel from heaven. Nah, I'm real. I'm a real human being with real life issues. I don't purposely lie, but I damn sure can lie if I need to. I was taught by a great man, and my daddy taught us that sometimes the truth will get you killed just as quick as a lie. So hell, sometimes you gotta tell a lie. But I find in most of my life experiences, I have no need to lie. So I don't practice mine. But it's not that I can't or that I won't, because then I damn sure be lying if I said that. But what I try to do is live in my truth, and then live in the honor of my mother, who gave her life for her 8 children. She worked hard much of my life, 2 jobs. And I can't do nothing but love, honor, and respect that. I worked for 40 years, but I tried to work as less as I could. But I worked for 40 years and had some years on a couple of jobs. So when we really start understanding that we're more alike than we are separated, and a lot of people get caught up in looks and beauty, but that's in the eye of the beholder. You can tell a person, you don't know that person by when you first meet them, what they say or what they do, but there is something in you, and that's that energy that we have that will let you resonate with the person, or it will have you pushing back from a person. And sometimes you could meet them on the wrong day at the wrong time. So just because you meet them today and you all don't quite jive, that does not mean that you cannot talk with that person or have any type of relationship. But I'm a person that believe in whatever your gut tells you, then it's telling you that for a reason. And you should listen to what your gut has to say. You should listen to what your heart has to say. And you certainly should listen to your mind. The mind, though, is a tricky thing, because one thing that I've learned in my studies, and I don't have any college degrees. I have scholarship, but I'm not the greatest scholar in the world. And I obtained my scholarship by reading the books that the people that got the college degrees read. So I understand some things I don't. I get a little confused about. But one thing that I've come to know is I think I lost my train of thought, and that's why I sound like I'm rambling. But we can make a difference in this world, and we have to quit excusing unacceptable behavior. I don't care who's doing it. And I don't want to find myself in the middle of no YouTube wars, but I don't control that. I'm built for it, but I don't control it, nor do I want it. So I try to just stay in my lane and talk about things that can uplift us as a people. I have opinions on a lot of different things, and I am a strong believer in, if someone attacks you, then you cannot dictate to me how I strike back. You can't do that. My daddy taught us as kids, don't play touching. Don't do it. He said, because see, you might tap somebody and then they might knock the shit out of you and knock you out. Okay? And so you go tell them, I didn't hit you that hard. Well, No, you didn't. But you hit him is the point. So it don't matter how hard. And you can't tell me how to fight. Hey, AJ, you can't tell me how to fight. So it's best for individuals if they would, if they would, keep their hands to themselves. Okay, I'm going to give you a story. I had two friends and we went out, and I'm not a club person, but sometimes I would go out with my friends because they wanted me to. So we went to this club, and I don't like old men, not to date. I respect old men, but I had a daddy, so I've never been looking for a daddy in a man. And we went to the club, and there was old men at this club. So we were sitting there, and at the time, I wasn't drinking. Uh, we were there, and these guys, they were buying drinks and sending them over to the table. So I was drinking Sprites. So this sister, she said, "Well, I'm gonna pick that man, and you're gonna pick that man." And she was talking to the other lady that was with us, and then you get that man. And I'm saying to myself, "Shit, I ain't getting down one of these damn men. I'm not interested in that man." So the man that she said she was going to pick for herself, he chose me. Well, I wasn't interested in the old man, but he kept buying drinks, and I told him it was close to Mother's Day. I said, "You keep buying these drinks, and Mother's Day is coming up, and shit, I don't even have a gift, and my son is too young to buy me one." So he said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." And so he said, "Okay." So then what he did was he went in his pocket and he pulled something out and he folded it up and he put it in my hand. Well, I didn't even look at it because, we were right there in front of him. So I just put it in my purse, and we sit there, and he still bought me the Sprites that I was drinking. So, well, the time was up for us to leave. And, oh, no, I got to tell you this before we get to that, because I was telling you about no touching. And maybe this is why the man chose me. I don't know, because this happened before he chose to talk to me. The man that was sitting closest to us kept touching me when he talked. So I told him, "Don't touch me no goddamn more." I don't want him touching me. So he said, "Oh, you don't have to be rude." I told him, "Well, I'm not trying to be rude, but I asked you not to touch me and you keep touching me." And so he said, "Oh, ladies, if I touch you like that, would you have a problem?" Someone said no. And then he asked the other one, "If I touch you like that, would you have a problem?" And she said no. I said, "But you ain't touching now one of them motherfuckers. You touching me, so touch them. They want to be touched. But I don't want you touching me." And I told him what my daddy taught me. If you keep your hands to yourself, I keep my hands to myself, and we're not going to have no touching problem. But, sir, don't touch me no more. And maybe that's why the guy that chose me decided to choose me. Now, we leaving the club. We get in the car. We driving down the street. So I'm looking in my purse to see what the gentleman gave me. And he handed me a $100 bill, and I had no idea that that's what he gave me. Now, again, I don't know if it was for the no touching, or if it was for the no drinking, or if it was for because I said Mother's Day is coming up and my son is too young to get me a gift. But the moral of the story is you need to be yourself wherever you go. And I don't want you touching me, sir. Do not touch me. I don't know you. It's a privilege to touch me. I don't give a damn how big I get. I'm just like, and they don't have these kind of commercials anymore, but there used to be a hair wash that was dye for hair, and it was L'Oreal, and the commercial was a preference. I have a preference. I don't give a damn about what you think I look like or what you think I should look like, but you do not have the right to touch me if I don't give you the permission. If I don't invite you to touch me, keep your goddamn hands off of me. And I'm going to keep mine to myself. So we have to get back. Let me see. Don says sometimes people think by touching makes people feel more comfortable. I never understood that myself. Yeah, and you know what? Some people do that, and what they don't understand, but sometimes touching make people have memories that they don't know that are embedded in them, and that will make them go berserk. Some people you can't even touch unless again they give you permission to touch them. So, it's just crazy. And since you don't really know, the best way to approach that is the way of the common law, which is if I don't bother you, then you don't bother me. And then we don't have no issue. It could not be an issue between you and I if we both have boundaries and respect for one another. It just cannot be. And, we have to quit blaming and start claiming and naming our own shortcomings, because that's really where the problem lies, is our own shortcomings and what we're going to do about them. And you don't owe nobody no explanation about nothing. But if you live true to yourself, you're going to be true to everybody around you. And if a person have a problem with your truth, then you have to use my language. Then fuck you. And it's just that simple. I mean, that's simple to me. Now, nobody have to live like that. They don't have to take that idea, but that's an idea. If you don't bother me, I won't bother you. But if you bother me, now we have a problem. I'm not a fighter. So I had 3 fights and lost all 3. And so I don't do no fighting, not physically. And now I'm too out of shape and too old to try to do any physical fighting. But I will get down with you in writing. That's what I believe in. And that's why I read a lot. And I want to know my rights. I want to know your rights. I want to know how to respond when opposition come my way, because I'm not going to respond physically. I want to be able to respond in a way that you know that I was there. I want you to feel me in the right way. And that's how I'm going to do it. Or we can let each other go and then we don't have no issues still. But we as the people have to realize that, okay, somebody who's looking up the words, look in the PDF file, Black's Law Dictionary, and look up the word minority. They call us minorities and we call ourselves minorities. But minority is not what we think it is in law. In law, minority refers to the smaller number in a voting system. That's what minority means. But it also means minor, that you haven't reached the age of maturity. And that's the definition that they use minority when they're speaking of us. So anytime you call yourself a minority and then you get treated like a child by the establishment, it is because that you voluntarily told them that you were a minority. Just because people say something or call us something doesn't mean we have to agree. And better yet, we got to learn to start disagreeing. And anything they present to us in writing, we must present back to them a rebuttal in writing. That's how this world is ran in the law of contracts. We don't look at it as contracts, but I tell you, good people, it is contracts that people are ruling us by, because they're ruling us as if we are corporations. And once we start talking about jurisdiction and territories and comprehending what this really is, where we live, where we are, that each state is a country of itself. That's why when you go to Article 3 of the Constitution, if you would go read that and read about the diversity of citizenship, And when you look at how they talk about the states and the rights of each state and how they're a foreign one to another, a lot of us think the word foreign means distance, outside of this country. Well, America, the United States, is not a country. We got to start looking at it for what it is. It is what? It is a continent. This is North America, a continent. So we have to start putting ourselves in a better position. Yeah, we're behind. That's true. But we don't have to stay behind. We won't ever catch up to that degree, but we can learn the truth and then put ourselves in a position to do what we need to do. You know, I used to ask the question, okay, so even if we find out who we are and we start doing what? Because who's going to run the country? And then someone made the statement to me, we're doing it anyway. And that's true. Look at any entry level job on any big Fortune 500 company and see who's running the company. We are. So we have the people, we have the knowledge, it's in us. And if we get in tune with nature, then our memories will come back and we can remember who we are and where we come from. We have such a rich heritage. We hear that and we don't know what that means, but it means that we are the people that they want to divide and say that we're not. We're those people. We're all of us here in America and other places, because we are the people of the land. And what they did, as we go back to the maritime that I started out talking about, they took us and separated us from the land by using the maritime and admiralty law. But when you read it in the Constitution, it is not written for them to do that. But of course, I don't know how many are aware of the 1871 organic act of Congress, when they overthrew the government and the government ceased to exist. I don't know how many are aware of that. And I don't know if you are familiar with the Dred Scott case, but that is the famous case that every person that is Asiatic, African American, and you say African American, one and the same. Africa and America is the same. The Empire of Morocco resides here, and that's another story. But what I'm telling you is, we all need the Dred Scott case because that explains to you why they treat us like they treat us. Then there is a case, the William Dungy case. And the William Dungy case defeated actually the Dred Scott case, but the William Dungy case came before Dred Scott's decision. William Dungy was in court because his brother-in-law called him a nigger. And he was telling him, well, actually, he called him a Negro, and he was telling him that he was not a Negro, he was a Moor. And they all laughed. That was the last case, actually, that Abraham Lincoln won in the courtroom before he became president. And what he told him was that actually he was a Moor and not a Negro, because a Negro takes you out of the human family and it makes you not heritable. And we need to become heritable by being who we are. We're not who we are. We who they say we are. And then when we try to share it with our people, they think we crazy, or you one of them people, you atheist. You no, none of that. Once you start learning etymology and understand where words come from, You will learn that the word God comes from the word good, comes from the word good, good, God, good. So when you hear them say God is good, that's true because God means good. But God as a person does not exist. That's a verb transitive. It's an action. That's why love is an action. Love is not a feeling, but we use our emotion to determine love. But love comes from not what you say to me, but it's what you do for me, with me, and around me, and to me. That's what love is. A mother doesn't just love a baby because she say I love you. She has to nurse the baby. She has to feed the baby. She has to clean him, because the baby is totally dependent upon her. She has to hug him or her, nurture. She has to impart wisdom by teaching because it's putting us on to know right from wrong, you know. It's putting us to know that. But if we're not taught the difference, we got to be taught the difference. Because if you notice, a child will tell you no way before they'll tell you yes. A little bitty baby, they love to say no and know exactly what it means because they study our behavior. Okay, seriously, you said how it makes you feel. Okay, tell me what you're saying, how it makes you feel, so I can see if I'm on the same page. I just want to see if we're on the same page. But you know, action is what it's all about. Love is a beautiful thing, but when the light bill do, you can't tell them that you love them so much, or you love the fact that they allowed you to have mites the month before. If you don't pay that bill, you're gonna be uh, kind of in the dark. Okay, you said the description of love is an action, how it makes us feel. Okay, now see that. I guess you're. Mm, I don't understand what you're saying, and I usually can kind of understand something. And I guess you said the description of love is how it makes you feel, the action of what you do, how the action makes you feel. Is that what you're saying? Tell me if I'm on the same page, because sometimes my thinking can be way off in left field. So is that basically what you're saying? The action of the love, how it makes you feel, and that's why we deal thinking love is a feeling. Goes back to nurturing. Yeah, okay. Touching. Okay. I thought so, but I wasn't sure because, my mind sometimes can go to, another dimension and I don't even realize I'm there. But I just want to make sure I'm with you on that. That's exactly right. Exactly. But like, seriously, she broke it down to me where I saw that we were on the same page, and that was about like the touch. Yeah, because they said that if a baby, if it goes so long without human touch, that it could literally die. So that's believable. The touch, the hug, the kiss, then that makes you feel secure. It makes you feel happy. It makes you want to be in the presence of, as opposed to if you're in an environment where it's hostile. And a kid doesn't know the difference between hostile and happy, not by way of definition, but they do by the way, as you said, seriously, it makes them feel. They know when it's fear involved, or they know when it's time to laugh. And I used to get in trouble because shit, sometimes I didn't know the difference. And I would get in trouble because shit, how we as mothers, we have this look that we give our children, and they supposed to know that when you put them damn eyes on them, they ain't supposed to act like that. Well, it took me a minute to understand the rules. And I used to get in trouble because sometimes them looks came and shit. I didn't know what them looks meant. Hell, I don't know if I was looking back the same way or what, but I have, gotten a couple of whoopings because I didn't catch the look. Some things that we should be able to say, without saying words verbally, and that's one reason why if you learn how these people claim that they such experts and they can tell when you lying and shit like that, body language is the only language that doesn't lie. And if you understand what I just said, you understand. But body language is the only language that you can speak that does not lie. And that's why they look, when they giving you the lie detector test and everything like that, they look for your little old behavior. Hey, nephew Mike, that's that's how they know your idioms. When you know how they give you the test and then they say when they ask you a question, and Judge Judy is good at this. She calls herself the human lie detector. But they ask you a question. Now, all other questions you answering just normal. You sitting there still, your eyes are straight. They ask you another question that you probably, maybe you really don't know, but you probably lying, because then you start shifting your eyes. And when you shift them one way, they got it meaning one thing. And when you shift it another way, they got it meaning another. And I know for me, this is something I do when I'm driving. Well, I used to because I don't really too much drive on the freeway anymore. But when I was on the freeway and I would be driving, and you know how you jump in front of somebody, but you really didn't mean to jump in front of the damn people. You really didn't. But when I would do that, my hand would always go up on my head like I was scratching my head. And then I would wave, like I'm sorry. But that's just something that's a reflex. It automatically happens. So it's certain things that we do as humans whenever we're taken by surprise or if we lying. Some people, their eyebrows go up, or they may, hey, thank you. I'm trying to see the name, and I hit the damn phone too hard. Thank you, Safray. Thank you so much for hitting that cash app. Okay, I'm gonna go with Skinny again. Hit that cash app, and I gotta do my Umar Johnson dance. I love Dr. Umar. I love him for his knowledge, y'all. His knowledge. Dr. Umar is one of the great guys. If people say what we need to do, Dr. Umar been telling us. Now, I'm not talking about the donations, and I ain't talking about the school. We had that discussion on Mr. Skinny, and like I told Mr. Skinny, that Dr. Umar is not making anybody do anything. They're doing that because they want to. And if they like me, at any time that you decide that enough is enough, then you stop. But the knowledge that Dr. Umar is giving, if I tell you it's life saving, please believe me. And if you listen to what he's saying, he has studied this shit and he got it down to a science. And what he's waking up us up to is pretty much everything in the DSM is somebody's opinion. It is not state in science or fact. They cannot prove any of this. It's somebody's theory or opinion. And most of us don't believe in therapy, But I tell you, it's one of the most liberating things that you can do, because you get an opportunity to talk to a person who will not judge you by what they hear of you. And most of us, we always confessing to the wrong people. And we don't understand that. That if you're going to have an issue in your life, and if you have a mate, your mate may not be the person that you want to talk to about that issue. Now, I'm not saying be dishonest. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, if you divulge an issue that's painful for you to a mate, then that's what they call giving ammunition, you know, for a person to hurt you. And it's kind of like hold on one moment, please. It's kind of like, Hun ain't fun when the rabbit got the gun. Hey, Anthea. When you hear hunting ain't fun when the rabbit got the gun, that's what that's like when you tell a story to someone that's near and dear to you, you're in a relationship with, and if you haven't really worked out the issue of whatever that is, then you should not share that story. And I say this, everything that pretty much that I talk about is based on my life, my experiences. But what I know about me is that I'm not the only person this shit happened to. So where your life and your experience may not be the same as mine, but we have what we call human experiences that we have in common. And it's written that, they use the word sin, but I don't necessarily use that word anymore. I'm going to say there is no action or no thought that overcomes you that is not common to every man, because we're alike in that way. And as I said before, we're more alike than we are different. We just don't know it, and we won't share it. But I live a very transparent life, and I've learned to deal with my issues. I believe in therapy, because the gentlemen that I used to love were drug addicts and alcoholics. And I love them dearly. And that's probably how I put myself in the position to think that I was a savior, because I'm a codependent person. And I believe in doing everything. I don't just believe in second chances. I believe in, 100 chances. And that can be costly, where you think that you're giving a person a chance to be with you again because you want to be with them, and you're thinking they want to be with you. But in all honesty, they could be feeling that shit, they can be with you just because you want them. They could have gone on in their feelings, and instead of being honest, and because people don't like being alone, they'll use you for that time period until they get whatever they need. And if you notice, I'm saying they because it works for both of us, men and women. And until we deal with our own issues, then we don't know nothing else to bring to a relationship but craziness and trauma. And that's the same even in friendship. And that's why they say we have to show ourselves first friendly in order to have a friend. I know this by way of the experiences that I've had. Like my first ex husband, you know, we have never been together ever in life since my son was born. My son is 40 years old. He'll be 41 this year, and his dad passed 2 years ago. So we'll never get that opportunity. But when we were together, we were truly what I believed was in love in a fairy tale story. When we dated, we were the kind of people that my ex-husband too is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and his father is a world-renowned artist, Charles Searles Jr. Look him up, y'all. Look him up on YouTube. His paintings are still going for $500,000, and he's been dead for a while. But that's another story for another time. But with my ex-husband, you know, we had the kind of love affair where we were at the stop sign, we was kissing. Everybody hated our ass. Everywhere we went, we were holding hands. And this is in the dating period. And then we fucked around and got married. And then I saw a different person. I know that he drank beer, but I didn't know to the degree because I'm 18 years old, so I don't know nothing about alcoholism and shit like that at the time. But once we married, he was going to college, and that's why he came to Dallas, and I was working because I didn't want to go to school. But we met at the school because my daddy was the type of person when you graduated high school, you was going to either go to school, get you a job, or move your ass out. And I wasn't moving out. So I went to school for that summer session, and then I got a job and I went to work. But we had started dating. And so, I thought he was just the best thing. We, like I said, we couldn't even stop at the stop sign or the red light. And then when we driving down the street, shit, we could have had a wreck because we holding hands and shit, and he using one hand, and didn't learn how to drive until I taught him because he said they had the rails and all that kind of stuff in Philadelphia. And, at the time we didn't have all of that. Well, anyway, we got together and, everything was fine, I thought. And then I found out that he drank. And then I found out that he fought. And I never had, but 3 fights in Milestyle 3. So I wasn't a fighter, nor did I tell anybody what I was going through. Never told anybody what I was going through. But one of my cousins was with me one day when he slapped me and knocked me on the couch, past the couch, because the whole couch fell over. And she was so frightened, she hit my damn car trying to leave because she was very nervous. And at that time, my grandmom was dying, but I still took it all in because, again, I thought that, he loved me, and I didn't have a concept of love really, and I didn't know it was about action, but because he really literally took care of me. We both had a job, but he did what I asked him to do. I only had to pay my insurance, and he paid all the bills. And I gave my mom money every week because we got paid weekly, and so did he because I asked him to. So I thought that was just something that happens, but I didn't tell anybody. And the fact that you don't tell anybody lets you know that that's not right. Anytime you choose not to tell somebody, that's not right. Not that people have to know everything that goes on in your business because really they shouldn't. But anytime you're being hit, touched in any manner, please know that that's not just the only time, baby, and it'll never happen again. That's a goddamn lie. I'm a living witness of it. But anyway, when we finally decided to break up, I left him running. And when I left him running, I came back home, and 2 weeks later, I was sick as a dog, and I went to the doctor and found out that I was pregnant with my only child. And I called him to tell him, and he said the most devastating thing to me that really hurt me so bad. But of course, I was that little puppy dog that took the hurt. And you know how they say the Energizer Bunny, take a licking and keep on ticking? But I took the licking and kept on ticking because he asked, was it his? And that was very, very, very insulting and disrespectful and hurtful. But we got past that, but we never got back together because I left him running 2 weeks earlier. So we never ever got the opportunity to live together as a family, even though we were married. So I tell young girls when I talk to them that, there's no shame in giving life if you're not married. We really hate that that happened, but if our young girls weren't having babies, we wouldn't have babies because Angela Stanton let us know how many we're killing every year, 328,000, because they have us deceived into thinking it's better to kill than to give life. It's really sad. But I told this whole story because we broke up and we have never been together as a family. My son never got to feel his mom and dad together under the same roof. And they look a lot alike. Um, So what happened was we decided we were going to try to get back together. My son was about 2 years old, and we decided we were going to try to get back together. But he had been living with this young lady, and she worked for the state. And when you work for the state here in Texas, you get paid once a month. And we were supposed to move June 1st of that year. Unfortunately, our apartment wasn't ready. So it was June 15th when it was going to be ready. And I got the apartment, I found it and everything. And then he was going to pay for the moving and have the movers move us. And we were going to be together as a family. And the day came when it was time for us to move. It was a Saturday morning. And, he wasn't here by the time I thought he should have been here. And so I called him and I'm like, what time you coming? You know? And he's like, you know what, Cheryl, I'm sick of you calling me, Bob and me. I'll be over there in a minute. And I'm like, damn, that's strange. I didn't understand that. So when he came here, he told me that, this woman that he lived with, um, she get paid once a month. And he had been with her, helping her spend up her check. So, he could not move with me now, today. He would have to come July 1st. You know, she's the type of woman that a man can't come back to, but you're the type of woman that a man can come back to anytime. And you can take it or you can leave it. And with tears, a little tear, it was one rolling out of my little eye. And if you can envision those dogs that be on the commercial, in the eye of this, whatever they say, when you see them little terrible looking dogs that's hungry and shaking and cold and they look like they crying. Well, that's about I felt like that at that moment. I could hear that music in my head, and it wasn't probably even out then. But that's how I felt. And the little tear rolling. And I told him I think I'll leave it. And so I left it. And we have never ever been together as a family. But what I did do as a mother and as a woman, I kept the lines of communication open between he and his son. And unfortunately, he didn't do his part by contacting his son because I got his son a phone so he wouldn't have to talk to me. He could talk to his son. So my son has had his own phone since he was 10 years old so that he could communicate with his dad. And oftentimes when he called, it would be on my phone. Now, me and him couldn't get along, but that's the phone he would call on all the time. And my son, when he went off to college and when he came back, he would look for his dad because we lost touch with him. And he would find him, and he wasn't always doing good. Now, he went to school and he got a degree. He didn't finish Bishop College. That was the school that we were going to, which is now Paul Quinn College in Dallas. But he went and got a trade. That's why that trading and coding is very important because he got a trade of air conditioning, heating, and refrigeration. And he had some of the best jobs that, the city of Dallas has to offer. But we never, ever, ever connected back. I told him I did not hate him. You know, I wasn't mad at him, but he just really didn't exist to me anymore outside of our son. And so what would happen was um, my son would come back and he would find his dad and take him out to eat and things like that. And actually, he passed 2 years ago. And before he passed, it was kind of when this illness that they wanted us to take the jab for started. And so now that we think back, that could have been some of his problem. We don't know that because it was very early on. But it was the first year that the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles were playing together against each other here in Dallas. And my son surprised him and got him a ticket and took him to the game. And you all don't know what that meant to him because he truly, truly, truly loved the Philadelphia Eagles. And he hated, hated, hated the Dallas Cowboys. and we're all Cowboys fans. I'm not a sports fan, but I'm a home team fan. So I'm a Cowboys fan by way of home team, but my family all are really truly Cowboy fans. But my son took him to the game, and I had bought him Eagles hat, and I bought him some socks, and his socks didn't come in time. So we had a gift wrapped, and my son was going to take it to him, but unfortunately, before they got back together, my son started a new job and he travels, and he did not get to have another experience with his dad. Um, a friend of his dad's called me one night and said that she had been over to his house, and he's not answering the door, and he always answers the door for her. Well, she didn't call me, she called my son. My son was out of town, and he called me and was telling me the story. I say, well, let me just do what I need to do. And I called to do a welfare check. And when the police went over, um, they couldn't get an answer. And so I found out the apartments, and I called the maintenance number, and the guy, he said that they had found his mom dead in her home, so he would be willing to leave his home, which was about 20 minutes away from where my ex-husband lived, and go and check for me. And I thanked him. And the gentleman did that. And when he got there, they couldn't open the door because he had the deadbolt on. But I can tell you this, boy, I thought there was a damn dog just went through this goddamn room. I see you walking behind me. Ooh, that scared the shit out of me. I know we ain't got no damn dog, but that sure scared me. That was my sister, y'all. But anywho, so the police, they were very nice because I talked to them back and forth. And when they broke in, he was deceased in the bed. And so I had to call my son and tell him about his dad being deceased. But we had good memories, and we did a beautiful, beautiful service. And if I would have known I was going to tell y'all that damn story, I would have had my little slide, because I'd have learned how to do a little slideshow. I'd have had his obituary up, because it's one like probably you've never seen. We did the Philadelphia Eagles theme, and we all wore our Dallas Cowboy clothes, like t-shirts and shit. And we had him in a Philadelphia Eagle t-shirt, his hat, and it was a beautiful service. We did a memorial service. But even though I told that whole story to tell, that see, we all got to be responsible for what we're responsible for. And one thing I knew about with my ex-husband, my mouth is so cold with it. To a lot of the shit, I'm not the reason that that man touched me. He shouldn't have never. But I do know that I provoked a lot of shit, because I could talk shit and he couldn't. Not as good as I could. Now anybody can call you a bitch and a hoe and a dick sucker, and that don't mean nothing to you if you know that shit don't apply to you. But I'm men, and that's why when Kwame started talking about us effeminizing men and emasculating them, I didn't do the effeminizing, but the emasculating I can relate to, whether I want to or not. I would have to be honest with myself. And some of that shit I was doing, I didn't even realize that that's what I was doing. And that's when it's dangerous, mothers, when we don't realize that's what we're doing. And then we always got an excuse for why we do what we do. But when you get real with yourself, and I got real with myself a while back, where I had to actually, I went to therapy. I put my son in therapy. I believe in therapy. Uh, we did what we needed to do. And then I started doing my own self-help work. I believe in self-help. I do. uh, Kwame told that guy, "You tough love, I'm self love." I believe in that. Self love, self help. And I'm going to tell you, anything you deal with, if you don't learn about whatever it is you're dealing with, you're going to get fucked. I don't care what it is. If you have to rely on somebody else to tell you about you and your business, you're getting fucked. I'm just telling you. That's just the only way I can say it. But I can tell you this. Thank you for the rest in peace. But I'm very happy the way that story ended. I'm very happy. because my son was the man that he wanted his daddy to be. He became that man. And my ex-husband didn't have a relationship with his son like he should have because he still had feelings for me after he fucked over me. Okay? Now the feelings weren't there when we had a chance to work it out and do it. It came after he did what he did. Cool, fine, whatever. I can live with that. I did not hate him. And my son and I did everything that we needed to do to make sure he had a beautiful going home service. And that's what we did. And everybody enjoyed it. I mean, we had a beautiful time. And we didn't do it traditionally. We did it our way. And we honored him the way he lived. And it was, I feel real good about it. And my son feel good about it. And that's what matters to me. You know, I love the tiger, but I call myself a lioness. I'm a Scorpio by zodiac, but a lioness is going to take care of her cubs, and she's going to do everything in her power to make sure that that child make it to the age of maturity. And so that's what we as mothers want to do. But what we don't understand, and overstand, that all of us had some traumas in our life, some worse than others, but we all had some issues that we haven't quite dealt with. And then we expect our men, the ones that we choose or the ones that choose us, to come in and be, I'm just going to say this because it's a song, Captain Save-A-Ho. Not because we know ho. I just want to say that because that's a song and that shit sound good in that sentence to me. So that's why I want to say that, to be honest. But we want our men to come in and understand without us even having the conversation, you know what I'm saying? Our issues. And they supposed to know how we were treated or what made us hurt. And they supposed to automatically be able to take care of that. And until we heal the little girl that's in us, because we all got that little girl. Some had a good experience, some had worse than others. But we've all had life experiences. And until we heal that little girl and get comfortable in the skin that we're in. Because, see, I tell people, I went and spent $3,000 for some goddamn dentures 2 years ago. And if I'd have ever known I was going to be getting on this YouTube talking about damn Toothless Tiger, I would be $3,000 richer. I wouldn't have bought them damn teeth. I would not have bought them because I am so who I am when I'm at home, when I'm comfortable. I'm in my element. I tell people when I started out a brick. Then I moved to a brick house. Then I moved to a mansion. Then I went to a whole fucking plantation. And I ain't never met a man that didn't want a plantation. And what I mean by that is a place with land and a big old beautiful home. I ain't met a man who didn't want that. And men ask me for the P word. Trust me, they do. But the vowel that follow that P ain't no fucking O. It's a U. And I try to give them every pound I got if it's one that I want to be with. So I don't get hooked on the look. I done been all sizes. I done enjoyed the best that life has to offer. And I am who I am today. And I am happy. But it took some work to get here. Oh, it took some work. When I was at my smallest, I was on a fucking diet. Why? Following that image of the European woman on TV. I never believed in the colors and the dyes, but I wasn't against anybody who believed in that. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. I cut all my hair off because I don't believe in weaves and I don't believe in wigs for me. But my hair started going bald up in here. And I believe it's the medications I was taking, but my hair grows down past my shoulder. But with a bald spot here and a bald spot there, I look like damn Bozo the Clown. So I say, fuck that, I cut it all off. Because I'm that girl. And I can do that. People, oh, that haircut sure looks cute on your face. Shit, it look cute on your face if you cut your hair. Because I don't get caught up in what people think. Although we all want to be thought of well. You don't want to treat everybody well and nobody treats you well. It's a balance. And you got to have a scale to weigh it. And anytime you're giving more than you're receiving, or anytime you're receiving more than you're giving, it could be either way. Anytime you do that, trust me, it's an unbalanced relationship. A relationship should be two people coming together as a whole, 100, putting in 100. If you can't take 50 cents and make it out of a dollar with a person, then you got a problem, Houston. And we say that because that's what they said with NASA. NASA is in Houston, Texas. And so they had a problem with, the spaceship. And so they say, Houston, we have a problem. Well, Houston, we have a problem. If you don't try to come together, we expect for men to know everything, to do everything, to be everything. But see, they had to grow up too. And oftentimes they had to grow up without a father. But I'm a firm believer that a man and a woman is who your mother created you to be, because your mother gave you life. And I like to try to get people to understand what I'm saying when I talk about the matriarchy of a woman, because all life comes from woman. And the woman, if you look in nature rules, the woman rules. She does not rule to abuse and misuse. Look at the lioness. Do you think she fuck with that lion? The only time she gonna go up against that lion is when he come after that cub. And I'm talking about his own cubs, because in nature, the way that works, that shows you ain't no man gonna come take care of nobody else's children. So they kill the children. So we ain't going that far. But I understand the principle of what they're talking about. But in nature, the woman hunts and the man is on his job, because don't nobody step into territory. And if you do, you have a force to reckon with, because he going to be on your ass and you're not going to be there. They work together. They don't work against each other. If you look at the bees, look at the ants, look at the trees, look at the flowers. Everything is on a matriarchal system, because the woman brings nativity because of the navel and the umbilical cord, that we all share the navel as our birthmark. We all have them. The man too. So the woman reproduces herself, and then she creates man, because there are no male eggs in our body. But check this out. There is no female sperm in a man's body. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? And that goes into that, again, metaphysical things that I just don't comprehend. So all I know is I do my personal best to learn all I can learn and to do what I can to teach my people. Because if we come back to who we really are, we wouldn't have no divide. Our divide come from NASA. When you go back and you hear any of these slave stories, not only were they raping our women, they were raping our men too. And then they would kill our men in front of us so that we would protect our boys and teach them to be docile and not let them be the men that they're supposed to be. That's why they're so against you guys who stand for something and who stand for us. And it's so sad sometimes, because you all are willing to lay down y'all life for us and we not willing to stand. We as mothers are going to have to change the conditions in which we live. We're going to have to get that feminine energy back together. We're going to have to do it. Don't be afraid to hit the cash app either. Anybody, don't be afraid. And I ain't angry if you don't. I just need you to really comprehend that it's us against them on the gorilla. But it's not us against them because we're that way, because we're not that way. We're not those people. But we have people in place that have done, it's called the Sambo syndrome and the Gumbo syndrome and Uncle Tom. See, a lot of us have, we don't quite understand who Uncle Tom really is. Uncle Tom was an honorable man. Uncle Tom took a lot of pain from his people. And the little Sambo came along, and he was the character of Uncle Tom. I love to hear Dick Gregory tell the Uncle Tom story. He said, anytime you hear a thing about a Tom, it's tough, right? He said, you got the Tom boy, you got the Tommy gun, you got the Tom cat, but when it get to a nigga, he a sellout. That's what Dick Gregory say. But Uncle Tom was honorable, and he took care of the people. It was Sambo who wanted to be Uncle Tom and couldn't. And see, I hear a lot of people talk about the house nigga and the field nigga. But see, my daddy taught us about the house nigga, the yard nigga, and the field nigga. Because there's 3 types of niggas. House nigga, yard nigga, and field nigga. And y'all know the yard man. We understand the yard man. And Charleston White say nigga nation. And he say that he say nigga nation because at one time that's all they ever called us was nigga. But I would like for y'all to look up the word troglodyte nigga and do a little research on troglodyte nigga. And you would be surprised who the real nigga is. But remember, I told y'all about Trading Places. The show with Eddie Murphy. See, they tell us a whole lot in the movies. And they do that because the subconscious only acknowledge truth. So they have to tell us the truth first, and then they sell us a lie. And then the conscious mind reasons, and we reason logic away. A lot of things that we believe is just that, believe. That's enchantment, and that's fantasy. We have to come into maturity and come into the knowledge of fruition, which is knowing. And when you know something, you don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe your name is what it is because you know that's what it is. So I tell y'all have made me feel so good for y'all to stay with me this long. I really be nervous about coming live. And I really normally come live just to showcase somebody else because I think the sky is so big that, it's enough sky out there for anybody to start. I just don't think people have to, bicker and fight for a position, for a like, for a view, for whatever. I would love to see more people interested in truth. But most people, they're not. Not until it comes to them. And when it comes to them, then they want to do a press conference. And they want the world to get in on their truth because it's painful for them right then and there. But I wish that we could be proactive because that's who we are as a people. We just forgot who we are because they separated us. They did that on purpose. Everything they know, everything they do, they stole it from us. But we helped them because we did some bad things. And we sold us out. But there's always an opportunity to get it back. It's always an opportunity to have a change of heart, a change of mind, and do right from this point on. We don't have to live but we can never forget. And that's what gets me, how they want us to just forget. And the reason they want us to forget, because we still living in it right now today. Ain't nothing changed, y'all. Ain't shit changed. We still living in a condition of occupation. And we are at war. War. Chemical, biological, psychological attack. We're at war. And we don't seem to believe it. Because we so happy that we can have the finer things in life, till we're really missing out on the finer things in life. And that's our families and each other. You know, the other day when Kwame was talking to that guy, Tough Love, I think it was, and he was talking about, you know, he want to, know the trash man because he see them every day. It's kind of like with our family. I don't know if y'all do this or if y'all know anybody that do this, but a lot of us will tell our friends or our friends' parents, or different people we know that we associate with. We love them, but we won't tell our children that. A lot of us, when we meet someone or go over to our friends' homes, we'll hug their parents and give them a kiss on the jaw and don't hug our own. And a lot of that is because of the dynamics that went on in the home, that you don't feel comfortable because it wasn't about touching and hugging and loving and sharing. And I'm happy for the homes that was like that. But in our community, most of them are not. And we can make that difference. It starts with me. And so I always tell people to be the change that you want to see. And a lot of us think that we can go into a system and change the system because of who we are. I will guarantee you, anybody who wants the book, and I think we all need to have this book. It's called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. Send me an email. I have my email address. Address is wrote right there, scrolling on the screen right now. And I'll send you a copy of the book. And I need you to read it. It's only 44 pages, I believe, something of that nature. Because it's a document. It's a secret document that was written somewhere back in 1952. And if you go and look up Executive Order 11490, you will see that document, Silent Weapons. Yes. That's how they're ruling us, y'all. We talk politics. We don't have a clue about politics. We don't have a clue. I didn't have, but I do now. And that's why I read. And that's why I buy old dictionaries. For real. I just bought so many damn codes. I bought USC 28, 15, 8, 4. A lot of us don't even understand why the flag is so important. But the U.S. flag that we see every day is a flag of commerce. It is not the country flag. But the flag was flown for when you go in other people's territory. Remember, we're going back to the sea, law of the sea, maritime, and admiralty. Check out the Constitution. But I tell you, if you get the dictionary, I looked up some words the other day. And I really had planned to do a video about this. But because Donnetria's camera still wouldn't, well, it wasn't the camera today, it was the mic. But I looked up some words the other day, and I promise y'all, if y'all go look up the word nation, the word nationality, you would be surprised at what the definitions are and how this situation really is. Naturalize is what you really need to know. Naturalize. Because they call us naturalized citizens, in the 14th Amendment. That means something, y'all. I don't know what this funny looking stuff look like with these people. I don't know if them real people's names or if that's the stuff, but it looks a little crazy to me. And since I got an opportunity to, I might be missing out on the best person I ever met in my life over the internet, but I'm gonna just knock them on out the box. I'm learning a little something, y'all. But y'all should look up the word. Damn, y'all should look up the word naturalize, naturalization, national and American law, nation, nationality, and native. Y'all should look those things up. Very interesting. Very interesting. And when I was telling y'all about the maritime and the ship and the courtroom, I'm just going to try to see if y'all can see my notes. I take copious notes. Now, I looked all these words up in the dictionary, and then I take time and write them out. Because what I need to do is sometimes as I get older, my comprehension kind of gets off. And so what I have to do is write stuff down and go back and read it and reread it and then take notes off of what I read. And then, they call the Civil War a war for us as individuals. That's not true. That was a massacre. That's when they got rid of a lot of the people that we are, and we call them. Thank you, Don. I appreciate that. Then put down, Don, the Organic Act of Congress, 1871. And look up the Geneva Convention, the treaties, the law of the land, Article 3. We should be in consul courts. These are my notes, y'all. I don't know if y'all can see that. I don't know how to put the shit right. But the next time I do a video, or if I decide to come live again, I will definitely have my little stuff written out because I'm trying to get better in my presentation. Yeah, me too, Don. I get, confused and shit, and this is some of the stuff I was telling y'all that I saw that guy, and I think what I'm gonna go back and do, I'm gonna go back and put a link to the videos that I was telling y'all about, and then maybe you can go and, because y'all probably can't read that or see that, but these are my notes that I take. And sometimes I'm the type of person, when I'm looking at somebody that I'm trying to learn from, I will stop the video frame for frame and write, what they're saying. You guys have stayed with me. Can y'all believe that? Oh yeah, I told them about the Black Law already. You got to the 6th, I got up to the 8th edition, Storm, and salute to you. Yeah, but I told them about the Black Law, and do you know about the etymology? The etymology dictionary online, Storm? Get that too. It's free. Now, I'm one of them people, I don't like a lot of ads and shit. So on the etymology dictionary, I just pay for the subscription because I don't want all them ads. But yeah, I told them about that storm. Trust me. You can look at my videos and go in the descriptions. I try to give us somewhere to start so that we can comprehend. And like I said, I do most of my learning from Taj Tariq Bey, and a lot of people have issues because Taj he's been doing this for years, 40 years or more, and he is so humbled. Taj is the most humbled person. I think he and Kwame is a lot alike. Taj does it because he's a warrior, and I think I am too. But I think I'm a warrior on paper because I'm not a physical warrior. But on paper, you can't beat me. You can try. And I hate to hear my people always tell me, get a lawyer, get a lawyer. No, you don't need a liar. No, you need to start learning some shit for yourself. We need to present ourselves. Be who we are. We are the makers of law. The natural law, nature's God, the common law, not the colorable law. I need y'all to look up that word, color, in the law dictionary. That free PDF, fourth edition, Black's Law, download it. Look up color, colorable, and colored, ED. Look those things up, and you'll find out some interesting stuff. We are waking up, and our young are hungry. They want to be a part. And we don't have to fight. We don't have to be angry. We don't have to be rude. If we learn the truth, we can just speak truth to power. We don't have to fight. If the fighting comes, then so be it. That's what we do. But might is not going to get us where we want to be. Might is not going to do it. I want to thank everybody for being with me for 3 hours. I cannot thank you enough. I will probably see you guys in somebody's chat tonight. I want to say again, thank you and happy birthday to Kwame. I hope he's enjoying his birthday today. And Mr. Skinny loves wrestling, and that's so funny because my son loves wrestling. He has been a wrestler lover since he was a little boy, and I bought him his first little WrestleMan. And WrestleMania is coming to Dallas next month, and he's going to be there. And I've taken him. Thank you so much. Oh, my boy. Thank you so much, AJ. But he loves wrestling. And so I was asking him the other day when I talked to him, he told me WrestleMania would be in Dallas this time. I say so. And he has a friend that he met in the summer, one summer at a STEM program. They went and they've been friends ever since. And so he said that I asked him, was his friend going to go? Where was he and the friend going to go and stand in line and get the tickets? Because what they did the last time a wrestling big match was here, one of them went and stood in line, and when the other one got off of work, the other one went and stood in line. And so they got their tickets, but I asked them, were they going to do that? He said they already got their tickets. And he's born April the 9th. So the WrestleMania, I think, is April the 3rd and 4th, or the 2nd and 3rd. So, but they're going to be here 2 nights, but they already have their tickets. And then later on that week, he and his friend are going to do some things. So, I mean, I am just so excited. But when I heard Mr. Skinny talk about wrestling, because my son has so many wrestling men, in cases, and he loved wrestling to this day, even though he knows that it ain't really what he thought it was when he was a little boy. He loved, I guess, the art of it. I don't know, but he loves it, loves it, loves it. And when he was 1993, I took him to WrestleMania 9 in Las Vegas, Nevada. That was his birthday gift. And we were in the nosebleed section, and that ticket cost me $50 each, but we were there. And actually, I saw Luther Vandross after. Well, I'm the one who spotted Luther Vandross when we was up in the nosebleed. He was sitting down ringside next to Hulk Hogan's wife. And she had on all this flashy ass sequence dresses at a wrestling match at Caesar's Palace. Luther had on a leather jacket and some black pants and shit. And I was I loved Luther Vandross. I did at that time. I was a wee down home Luther Vandross fan. And maybe other people in that damn place saw Luther, but I know I spotted Luther from in the nosebleed section. Well, we leave after the WrestleMania is over, and we're at the Mirage waiting for the White Tigers to come. Lo and behold, I just happened to turn around, and who did I see? Luther Vandross walking. So I told my sister, I say, "Guys, Luther asked him if we could take a picture." Now, we did not ask to be in the picture. We just asked, could we snap a picture? And do y'all know that damn man? And I am going to speak of him as the live person. But that damn man told her, "No, I'm late for a show." And I went ballistic. I cussed that motherfucker so bad. And I walked behind that damn man cussing, and my poor son hollering, "Mama, mama, mama." I was so, y'all just don't know how much I loved me some Luther goddamn E. Vandross. But when I got back to Dallas, Texas, I threw away every goddamn thing that had Luther on it, because that hurt me so bad. We wasn't even trying to be. If you could just let us just snap a picture of Luther. We didn't ask him to stop, but he said no, and he had that right. He had that right. But that hurt me so bad, I tell you, and that's when I probably quit seeing celebrities as celebrities or putting them in high esteem. They just niggas and women. And I know they have lives, but I just don't think, because I'm the only motherfucker in there that noticed him, that would have hurt him to let her snap a damn picture. But, he had that right, and I had my right. And my right was to throw away all that shit, and that's what I did. But I'm getting ready to say goodnight, because I know that probably other people are coming on, and you guys have thought enough of me to stay this long. I don't want to overstay my welcome. But, if you guys would want to see me come live more, then, let me know in the chat, and, I'll be more than happy. Well, I ain't going to say I'll be more than happy, because sometimes I don't feel good, but I will do it more often. And then I'll even let some people come up, and, you want to come up and express yourself or say something. I don't have answers for people to ask me about the 5%ers, the 1%ers, the 2%ers, the three. I don't have knowledge on the Muslims. I don't have knowledge on the Hebrew Israelite. I don't have knowledge of none of that. Only thing that I know is that anybody that looks like me is, to me, their bloodline is Moorish, Asiatic, American, because we all come from a Moabite, which is an ancient word, woman. So anything other than that, I don't get off into, because I am not good with science and metaphysical, but we are all being mishandled by our own science. And that's why you have to navigate through these waters. And you notice a lot of the little sayings have to do with water. And you wonder, I used to wonder why was everything a ship, relationship, courtship, friendship, you know, whatever ship that you choose to use. There's a lot of ships in the dictionary. You can look them up. But, and it's because of who we are. Everything they do, subliminally, they're making fun of us. But they won't tell us who we are, and we fail to remember because we've removed ourselves so far away from nature. And that's why we don't connect right. But y'all, we are connected to something, and it's the source. And we're connected to the ground, we're connected to the sun, and we're connected to the moon. That's a part of our DNA. And these people want to be us. They traded places, they stole our knowledge, but they can't reproduce themselves like we can if they get with us, because our gene is the dominant gene. And so anybody that get with us becomes us. But if you go back to the beginning, if we all came from the same woman, we're all really the same. But again, that's another story for another show. But you guys have been kind and stayed with me, and I just want to say thank you. Please like the video, share it if you would. I always ask with 3 people, but if you would share it with one, I'll be happy. And leave a comment. I thank you guys for talking in the chat, but please go just leave a comment and let me know, what you thought. Anything you want to see different, or anything that you can tell me. I'm not no good person. I don't take no damn good critiques. I'm not like Kwame. I can't do it. But I do ask you to keep telling me the truth. I don't give a damn how I feel about it. I'm just in my feelings at that moment. I am a person that believe in never stop telling me the truth, because truth has a way when you're alone to deal with you. I wish I could have normal conversations like Kwame and disagree. So I try not to really too much talk to people, because I have, I get to hollering and shit, and because I use that as a defense mechanism because I couldn't fight. So I use my voice to project different things as I was growing up. And I got away with it and did it for so long as an adult. I don't know, not that I don't know how, but I have not done. And, different men in my family would be telling me, like when we be talking, now me, if it's just me and them talking, and one of my best friends is a guy, and I see him like one of my little nephews, and we be talking one on one. I can say anything I want to because I cuss like a sailor because my daddy was a cusser. And I couldn't wait to get grown so I could cuss like my daddy and shit. When I got grown, that's how I talk in my private life. When I was at work, I was really blissed. And I use the word blissed because when you look up the word for bless in the etymology dictionary, the origin of that word comes from bloodsucker, sacrifice, and bleeding. So I use the word bliss, but I forget sometimes, and I may say it, but I try my best because the way to change a man's thinking, you got to change the language and you got to change the thought. So we have to call, as they love to say, a thing a thing. We have to call it what it is. If we don't do that, then we're cutting ourselves short. But I was telling y'all something, and as always, I told y'all my mind travel uh, when I'm talking, and so I was really about to make a point, and I don't know what that point is that I was making, but I think it had to do with us closing out and the sharing. Oh, the truth and how it deals with you when you're alone. And it does with me. I used to tell my oldest sister, I have one of the best older sisters in the world, and she has a vision problem, and she's having problems with her apartments. And for the last 2 days, I've been up, and my sister has too, been trying to compose letters on her behalf because she can no longer see as like she used to, so she can't type that good on the phone, and I can't type. And I can write, but I have to let it come out of my mind, type it, and then I may do it 2 or 3 times so that it'll make sense to me. I'll check for my tone because I don't want to sound, you know, wrong. I want whoever to read that to get what the picture that I'm trying to draw. So it takes us a while. We've been up. She's having problem with her apartments. The manager is real rude and threatening, like she's not going to renew her lease. And I'm trying my best to do this the proper way, but they're trying to make it very hard for my sister. And my sister is 72 and she doesn't deserve any of this. She is the greatest big sister, and she's just like next to my mom, because we lost our mom 28 years ago and we lost our dad. It was in 2008. Uh, I don't remember how many years that is, but it's been that long. It's 2008 and August 17th. So it's very hard to see her going through this and for this girl to talk to her disrespectful. And my sister's been there 30 years. She actually done paid for that goddamn complex, but she wants her independence. And she has 2 beautiful children, and they do everything they can for their mom. And she wants her independence, and so they allow her to do that. But it's been really a struggle. And then with me being who I am, yeah, it is, AJ. It's really a shame. AJ says such a shame. It really is. 16 years. No, Dawn, 30 years she's been living there. Uh, oh, thank you, AJ. AJ says, always a pleasure spending time with you, and thank you for taking the time to share your experiences with us. Yeah, because I need us to really start loving each other. You know, and I don't mean people not defend themselves. I don't have no problem with that. I'm talking about us coming together as people and loving each other, because that's the only way we're going to defeat the enemy, is to have love one for another and respect one for another like we used to. And if I look high in the motherfucker here, but they probably say shit I'm high, but I'm not. I don't get high. But I've been up for a while. I work on behalf of those who can't quite do it for themselves. And what I can do is write. And that's what I do. And I have a lot of knowledge about different things. So, oh, okay, Don, I'm with you. Okay, since he passed 16 years, it's been that long. So it's a weird feeling, but one thing my mom and dad gave us was each other. And that's what they told us always, that all we have is each other. And my oldest sister is like our mom because she took care of us. It was 8 of us. And she had 2 brothers ahead of her, and they're both deceased. And then my next to the oldest sister is deceased. And so it's the 3 of us girls left, and I have 2 brothers, one older, and he's now our oldest brother. And then I have a baby brother that's 2 years younger than me. And so all we have is each other. And my sister and I, one of my sisters, we share our family home together. My mama was a maid, but she left us a home that we owned, and we're grateful. And then we have each other, and so we try to help each other out, because now we're the seniors, and if we don't pass on this knowledge, AJ, uh, when we're gone, they're not gonna know. So I just believe in, whenever you learn something, if you would share it, but people, think I'm so opinionated and they really just don't want to hear shit I have to say. And I can kind of dig that, because I'm all of that. But I tried to do it in my mind. I am doing it in love, but maybe they don't consider that love. But what I do is want to give you keys of things you can go research. Don't take my word for it, because one thing about this knowledge is we got to own it for ourselves. When you start understanding jurisdiction and citizenship, what that really means, and foreigner, when you start looking those things up and I would ask y'all to look up land in the law dictionary, and hereditaments. Hereditaments is called. Hereditaments is the word. I'm saying and hereditaments, but it sounds like I'm saying inhereditaments. But no, I'm saying hereditaments. Uh, Look those words up, because they're very important to who we are as a people, and to what is being done to us as a people. But again, I just want to thank everybody for staying with me, and I'm going to get ready to close out. And so we can see if somebody else is on. I'm going to try to go to sleep, because I have really been up a long time. I really hate that Donnetria's system did not work this time. We practiced last night. We did everything we could. And I promise you that it was working pretty good. So I don't know what happened today, but I do understand how that works in this city of Dallas. Some areas we just don't get good internet, and she possibly lives in one of those areas. So hopefully she has a channel, and I would ask everybody to just go check out her channel, Donnetria Eltionea. She does poetry and spoken word, and you guys can hear her do some of her poems. She travels. She's really a beautiful person, and I think she's a genuine person. And you can go to Amazon and look that up. Also, like I said, if you're interested in publishing a book for yourself and writing a book, you can go to Amazon. If you already at Amazon, when you sign into Amazon, you can go to the Amazon. Just ask them in the search about self-publishing, because I don't know exactly how to get you there, but she took me there for me to sign up so that I can do some of my work that I wanted to do. So I know that she truly hate that this happened, because she really wanted to just let you guys see and hear from her about her work. And I believe that she deserved that opportunity to do that, since it didn't work well the first time. But for whatever reason, we're going to call it a plus and not a minus. And y'all just look her up if you want to, see the type of books that she sell out on Amazon. And I'm going to bid everybody a good night and see you next time. But leave me a message in the comments if you'd like to see me go live more, or if the videos is okay, and if you have a question, and if you want the book Silent Weapons, then just send me an email and I'll send it back to you. I'm going to say goodbye. I never know what to do.